I guess I didn't know. I forgot to know. I hate Google Docs sometimes. I forgot to notice there was a little bit more talking about raid design. Just I'll go over some of these topics really quickly. We're looking at some of the stuff we didn't talk about. Like one of the things we were talking about was basically like raid preparation. Kind of what we were talking about before, like with elixirs. Like that was a big thing in World of Warcraft, was getting the a lot of times crafters would craft these consumables that would basically kind of temporarily enhance your abilities. Final Fantasy 14 has this as well, where you have potions that give you very short-lived but potentially very important buffs to your primary stats. So they give you like a little boost of damage, or there'd be food. There's going to be food that lasts for a certain amount of time that gives you a smaller boost to kind of your stats. So a lot of times it isn't just the amount of time you have to pour into the actual raid itself. A lot of times you have to kind of pour in money, time, effort, money, whatever, in game money usually, to to make sure that you have the equipment, especially at the at the high end hardcore level.
When there's a more narrow margin for error.
Right. When that 6% to your crit hit, additional to your crit hit, is going to make a potentially huge difference, because that could be the difference between you succeeding or wiping at 1%. Boss hit point left.
Yeah. If I can just one little snippet. When I was doing heroic Lich King, we had him down to like less than 1% of health. I think we had him down to like 1/100th% of health, and we wiped at the very end. Dog, will you stop spinning? Thank you. I'm sorry, my dog's visiting me. She's chasing her tail and being adorable, but she needs to stop. Everyone started parsing. Everyone started going through the parses to see how what we could do to get that 1/100th%. And everyone noticed that I had missed a Savage Roar. That I was like 2 seconds behind on a Savage Roar use, which gave everyone like 3% crit chance. And everyone's just like, that's our 100. How dare you forget? Like, don't do that again. I'm like, holy shit, man. Like, I was stunned. I couldn't hit it on cooldown. What the fuck?
Right. But obviously you're a terrible person for being stunned at that right
point. Right. So, like, that's like how narrow that threshold can be sometimes, where you're like 2 hit points off, And like every buff has to be on cooldown. Everything has to be run perfectly to beat it. So like that's why those elixirs and the food buffs and the pre-game buffs, they matter, because they create that little bit of buffer to help widen the margins just a tiny bit.
Right, exactly. I think one of the last things that you want to talk about is kind of like looking at bugs and exploits, or if you want to say the polite thing, the emergent solutions to some of the rating issues. Like because a lot of times and I think there's been a lot of examples of this at World of Warcraft, where like people come up with kind of like novel ways to get to basically, especially like to get past trash mobs, and that becomes and so that looks like an exploit, or kind of pick on one of the non-MMOs recently. Anthem, had problems with decided people going and looting chests too frequently out in the open world was damaging the economy, because players kind of figure out this is the most efficient way to gather loot of the quality that they wanted, rather than running combat missions. And
the
so
developers were not happy about that.
right. And so from a design point of view, you kind of have to have you have to figure out your policy of what happens. What happens when people do what you don't expect. Some companies like back in Turbine, Lord of the Rings Online, the Turbine's kind of philosophy was, well, if it's in the game, then it's legal. Which led to basically like a lot of dungeons essentially becoming the mechanics you were learning were basically the exploits you learned in order to bypass the stuff that wasn't necessary, or to basically cheat the boss and get him to not be able to hit you or whatever. And so or you have kind of the Warcraft, where it's like thou shalt do the content exactly as we designed it and anticipated you would do it, or we will patch it and make sure that you do it the right way. And so it's kind of I tend to I don't like encouraging people to use bugs, but I think on the flip side, if people are not using bugs but using their abilities in clever ways that maybe the design team didn't anticipate, that's part of it. Let the players let the players be clever. Yeah. As long as they're not violating some of the fundamental rules, they're not getting loot more frequently than they're supposed to. They're not
Speaking of bugs in MMOs, since we've talked a lot about Karazhan, did you know there was a bug to get into the chess room from the outside of the raid?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there. So me and my friends, being the idiots that we were, we figured out how to get outside of Karazhan but still be inside the raid instance. There was a wall you could jump through.
Oh really?
Yeah, to jump out of the raid, and then if you ran up the hill behind Karazhan and then slow falled in, there was a non-existent wall there that you could slow fall through and drop into the chess room.
Right.
And so for anyone that doesn't know, the chess room's the second to last encounter in Karazhan. But it's a soloable encounter in the sense because you're literally playing like wizard chess. So you're controlling pieces on a board. And if you knew exactly what you're doing, you could solo it. So theoretically, you could go in there, complete chess, get a piece of free loot, basically, and then that would open up basically the rest of the raid. You could backtrack and open up the back door for your raid to come in. And you could clear out the rest of the raid without actually having a key to Karazhan. Or if only one person has the key or whatever, and you just want to get to Prince, you could just get someone to go in through the chessboard, complete it, then go back, open up the back door, and have everyone sneak through, instead of having to clear the first half of the raid. It got patched. It was not an intended bug. I think we're a little lucky we didn't, get banned caught doing that.
Right.
Because there were a lot of terrain exploitation we had to do to get to that point. It took us hours to figure it out, but we just saw this one wall in the raid, and we're just like, I think we can go through it. I think we can climb on top of it and get over it. And we just did. It took us forever to figure it out, but we did it. And we were so proud of ourselves because we outsmarted the game.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing, is that there's players that do that. And I give 14 a lot of props because there's not a lot of bugs like that. They're so cautious whenever they're making anything in the game.
Right.
And that's what we used to do. We used to just find terrain bugs all over WoW, just for fun. And we started doing that. When we all joined 14, we started with that. In A Realm Reborn, 1.0 had tons of them, but in A Realm Reborn, we couldn't find any places that we weren't supposed to go to. We couldn't find anything.
Right.
And I thought that was, I gave them props because it's just I found one spot in Upper Lenosia, where you could get on top of a rock that was behind an invisible wall. That was about it.
Right.
But there's nowhere to go from there. So I gave Square Enix a lot of props for that because they design very good levels.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the only thing I never remember from Final Fantasy 14 like that is like you basically had to exploit some housing items.
Oh yeah, the butt boost.
Yeah, and then and if you did it in this one house in Mist, you could basically hop over the visible wall on the side, swim on the or I think this is after they invented and did swimming, and you can basically see like the model of Limsa Laments in the distance.
Oh, okay. There's a bug in Lavender Beds where you can butt boost onto the roof of a mansion.
Right.
You'd glitch out on a chair and it would zip you up.
Yeah, it was something similar to that, but like it was if you did it on this one specific place, then you could basically get outside the bounds of the housing area.
Okay. Yeah, 14's been very good on their level design.
Right. Very disciplined, very careful about that.
Yeah,
but
like
anyway.
Those Realm Reborn zones, they're like handcrafted. They're beautiful.
Right.
So that's our spiel for today, I think. If anyone has anything else they want to contribute before we shut down, here's your chance. Wow, it's really quiet. I don't have any sound playing. This is actually a little upsetting. I guess I should find... I bet you Surian's live. I think that's why Surian disappeared.
Yes. He's playing Horizon Zero Dawn.
Ooh. So that was great of him to show up.
He shows up in my recommended channels now. I think because you've rated him so much.
See, I'm bringing him new people. Okay, so do you want to talk about next week? What we're doing next week?
Let's leave it a surprise.
Ooh, all of it. It's all a big surprise. Okay. So everyone knows we have surprises next week.
Yep.
I wish I was facing him so you could see the face I was making, but it's fine. It's like the most like salesman smile I've ever made.
Ugh.
I know. I'm so proud of myself.
Don't be.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for hanging out with us. You guys know the stuff. There's the Twitter, the YouTube. I put edited versions of everything of all of the podcasts on the YouTube. I beg you to check that out and share it with people so we can get a little more interest in this. I beg, because I'm pathetic like that, but you do you. It's fine. Wow, that was pathetic. I think that's all I'm gonna plug. Discord. There's the Discord. I put notifications and I talk a little bit on there when we're setting up. So if you like that, check that out. So we're gonna go raid Surian. He's a great guy. Oh wait, shit, I can't do that like that. I'm like raid Surian while on his channel. That's not how that works.
Brilliant.
I would love it if he got a notification. Someone attempted to raid on your channel. So give him some love. Show him some appreciation. He's always fun to hang out with. And we'll see you guys next week.
Have fun.